Good evening and welcome to the June 3rd meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, thanks folks for showing up or tuning in. We have no public hearings this evening. Any announcements from the board? Wayne, anything?
No.
I do not this week.
Gary?
Senior luncheon, June 17th, week from tomorrow. No,
2 weeks.
2 weeks from tomorrow. Gosh, it's coming up. Noontime, Lions Club.
Okay.
Menu to be decided.
Any additions or deletions to the agenda? We're all set. We have no appointments. Any public comment, Glenn? Correspondence, we do have the financial reports that are published on the town website. If you need a copy, please give us a call and we'll make sure that you get a copy. Reports and staff initiatives, selectmen's report, anything, Gary?
The only thing I can report is the Old Home Days Committee is still meeting. They're winding down. They're meeting more often now, but everything's falling into place. And the crew's doing a great job putting it together.
Anything else, Gary?
That's it.
Dave?
All set, thank you.
Dwayne?
No.
And I'm all set. So we'll move on to town administrator.
All right, I just have a few things for you. First off, so obviously, it was brought to our attention, just so you're aware, but there was a printing error in the ballot that does not impact the articles. It's in the explanatory notes on Article 3 and Article 22. There was a typo in the numbers for the explanation or the breakdown of the dollars where it was in there. Again, the articles are correct with the numbers, but just want to make sure you're aware. Article 2, these insurance and workers' comp for the selectmen and budget committee should reflect $1,040,014 versus the $965,490. It grabbed it from prior year in printing. And Article 22 in the revenue, the article is correct in revenues, but it shows the $23,850 twice in the revenue for the trash hauling for R57 for some reason. But again, articles are correct, but we just want to make sure people are aware of that. It's a reminder that this Thursday, at the end, June 5th, at the end of business, is the final day to request an absentee ballot. Again, that's this Thursday, June 5th. Next Tuesday, voting is on June 10th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. It'll be held here at the town hall. We have the LED signs will be updated to reflect the voting that day, and Angela is reaching out to the local businesses to update the LED signs there. And Jason will get the A-frames. We'll get the A-frames out here and at the middle school, just indicating voting's here at the building. Little Ospey Lake Association posted on social media earlier today as well. You might have saw that, but they'll begin harvesting the bladderwort beginning June 9th through June 12th, and again through June 16th through June 19th. And that'll be done on Little Ospey Lake, spearheaded through Little Ospey Lake Association.
Do you know what they do with it when they harvest it?
It's brought to the transfer station.
Okay.
And they'll bring that again to the transfer station again this year as well.
Once that stuff dries out, I guess it's done, yeah.
Good.
Unless it's got water, I mean, if we kept getting rain, it would kick.
Yeah.
But,
We make a special file.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
but it'll die out unless it's underwater.
Good.
We've been with both Amber and Laura. We've been keeping an eye on the budget, keeping a close line on all budget lines as we wrap up the fiscal year. At this point, we only have a few specific departments that we're concerned with. There were some that are underspent, but then there's some that we know might be over. So I provided a memo for you later on in the agenda. We're going to discuss that to see if we can allocate those funds if need be for transfers. We have indicated all the departments just to watch the spends the spending until the end of the fiscal year. Really nothing new to update on the Public Works Garage. We should be going out to bid. I don't know if it's going out this week, but we should be sending the bid documents out within the next week or so, hopefully. We have reviewed the final plans for the layout from the architects, and they look fine. And I know that Owen's on vacation last week, so hopefully we'll wrap that up. This past week, we had a lot of comments and concerns about the contract deputy, and I think my 2 cents would be is, we have never had this conversation of having a local police department, so that's not on the table. And again, I think we've looked at this from a contractual perspective, that there's issues that we have not been getting, that we feel that we should be getting. And we've had those conversations multiple times with the county and with the sheriff at meetings where they've been unaware that there's been sharing of deputies in other communities, or what we're covering here. And I put a couple notes together, that just some comments that came up this week, but what we have asked for is the ability to allow the contract municipality to work with the assigned personnel with a schedule to address local concerns, meetings, and other functions. Basically, from York County, this is not possible, as a contract deputy is part of the rural patrol schedule and would be considered as part of the minimum staffing. The SROs at the school are not treated the same way. A community function, Old Homes Days, elections, and special meetings, again, we've historically had to hire that out as a details outside of our contracts because they're not available. The board has reviewed monthly reports provided by Chief Deputy Forbes. There's actually a spreadsheet in front of you that Laura has compiled for FY '25. Some rather interesting stats in there, but out of the numbers, 1,180 responses and calls were handled by rural patrol, and on the contract deputy side, 373 throughout the year, based on the information provided by York County. And so people understand, our budget was created based on the cost estimates provided by the finance director, Lori Lemieux, at York County, and for everything from a deputy head to toe. Although this year, for the 3 quarters, we are approximately $150,000, I don't have the number in front of me, but about $150,000 spent year to date, will put us right around $200,000 for the year. Our numbers that we submitted last year were around 262 based on the numbers that were provided by estimates from them. And the numbers also fluctuate based on when a deputy that works in Waterboro works outside of the town, covering predominantly Waterboro and Arundel, and they bill it to the sheriff's general fund versus the Waterboro contract. We obviously pay for a cruiser, which it is what it is, and we pay for estimated fuel and other vehicle costs. However, if the assigned contract is assigned to another, to cover another community, we don't get anything out of that. We don't get any reimbursements. The county, we're required to under the contract language today. But the county also says they can't give us anything out of the county because it's not allowed. So the concern will be is in our next contract, we probably should make sure that we have stipulation that we either reimbursed or we figure a different arrangement for the cruiser moving forward, in my opinion, for that. Contrary to the school resource officers and the 57 officers that are assigned do not pay for a car. They provided a car from the county. They said it was the old cruiser, but I remember that a couple of the deputies that were there had a brand new cruiser parked out front that they were assigned, so I don't know. I guess we're just trying to be whole and treat it fairly with what the program is. I don't think anybody here has anything against the program as far as what we need.
It needs to be managed
But
better.
we're just not seeing them at the table here talking to us today. Any questions?
I'd just like to add to that, if you don't mind, that I'm for the program. I believe the general consensus is that we are. It's a contractual language thing where it says right in the contract that the deputy can leave for a due emergency. They're not doing that for an emergency. They're doing it every day for regular calls in other towns. That's not what the voters wanted. The voters voted for 80 hours of deputy coverage a week, 2 deputies, but we're not getting all that because they're using them to answer calls in other towns. So it's a clear violation of the contract. The wording is right there. nobody would have a problem with them leaving town for an emergency. Do it. You're not gonna have any well, from us, backlash from us, but it's just an every day, they use them to supplement their own patrol. So we're not getting what the contract says we should be getting, and it's a clear violation. They don't seem to want to address it, and that's why we came up with the ought not to pass. I like the program. I was with the sheriff's department when it first started. I remember the first deputy that worked Waterboro, and the program worked well because we made it work. They don't seem to want to make it work. That's my opinion.
I guess I gotta agree with Gary. I don't have a problem with the program. It's the administration and the way we have to pay for it, and we're not getting any part of what we're paying for. And when this cruiser, or two cruisers that we own, when it comes back, it beat right to death, and they give us a piece of junk and not the cruiser that had Waterboro on it, is a little upsetting. These cars are used for other departments here in town when they retire them from the sheriff's department. And the last one
We got rid of,
wasn't fit to go to Limerick to the salvage yard, so, you know, and that ain't the way it come off the force, so. But, in 80 hours, we're getting about 50, 55 out of the patrol, so we're not getting half of what we're paying for.
Anything else?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Any questions, Matt? We're all set? All right, so move on to the agenda. New business, discuss vote to reappoint the listed committee members to various groups. So, on the budget committee, we've got Diane Seahagen, Thomas Lee, Cable Television Committee, David Lowe, Cemetery Committee, Angela Silva and Patty Terrio, Community Gardens Committee, Donna Bernardi, Library Board of Trustees, Jennifer Bishop and Bridget McCollum, Saco River Community TV Board of Directors, David Lowe.
I'll make that motion that we approve those as you have just read.
Okay? Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a question to verify that these folks have been contacted and they're still interested in continuing.
What?
These folks have been contacted and they
sent
want
it-
to continue in their
They
term.
sent it in,
Yep.
their renewal app, and there were a few people that did not renew. Chelsea Burns did not renew, Assessing Board of Review and Garden Committee and Library Board of Trustees, and, Old Home Days, Kelly Holman and Alexandria Oliver did not renew.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Discuss vote regarding end of the year fiscal transfer of funds. Do we want to address this now, or do you want to pick it up on
July 1st.
June
Oh, no.
Gotta be done before June.
17th?
I would say we could do it tonight because it's only if needed, so to speak, here. And there's very few dollars compared to what I've seen in the past.
Okay,
And it's done. If something happens,
if something changes before June 17th,
we still got another chance, but
So do we need to vote to authorize Matt to do the changes necessary?
yes.
yes,
Then that's my motion.
with those funds, funds listed.
Right, exactly.
So we transfer 21,000 from 950160 5959 50 to 150110 5025.
What, Dennis, why don't you let these girls explain what that is?
Okay,
They got it right there, I think.
it's coming from boards and stipends,
yep,
the 5950, The 50/25 is going to the vacation sick time
Okay.
carry forward,
Yes.
which is carry forward. And that's been a carry forward account already, so we were just moving to one to the other because we tend to use that more often. The 47,000 coming from unclassified and used for various departments, specifically insurance or utilities if needed. And the 48,000 if needed out of 5,000, which is public works salary line, is FEMA funds that were redeposited from the previous year's storms. And then whatever we don't use out of that or need be, then my proposal would be is to transfer those FEMA funds that we got through that grant to building and equipment, CIP.
Any
Yeah.
questions? All those in favor? Opposed?
Reading the numbers, nobody's gonna know what's going on.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take all your glory, I thought you were
No,
gonna
that's
talk.
okay, I didn't.
I believe, Dwayne, did you second that?
I did.
That's right.
Wait, okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We have no old business. Other discussions, discuss vote to accept the minutes of the May 20th.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
I got a couple comments before you close it.
Yeah,
I've been out riding around, but Matt's working on the signs, and the signs are in desperate need, but I believe they've all been ordered, and I didn't realize, I knew the two coming in from 202 and 5 and 202 were ruined, but Rosconnor is, and when you come down from Limerick, that one's just as bad, so that's gonna make it look a lot better, but being out around town here in the last couple of weeks, comment coming from people living on the lake there, would love to see a harbor master, and this wouldn't be for just Osprey Lake, but it's something that we probably ought to consider in the future here, but it's gotta be either a retired police officer or a state cop or somebody that's been in law enforcement, because they gotta have training through the police academy, but also have to be trained as a harbor master, and there's 18 or 20 hours of schooling on that, but it ain't something that's gonna happen in the next 6 months, but
Right.
something that we should be considering. I've talked to Matt a little bit on it, and we've talked in the past, but just haven't done anything with it, but that's a concern. I think the biggest concern they got is all these docks that are going in on Osprey Lake, and probably a lot of the other lakes, because I was reading the Maine Townsman, that's same thing going on everywhere, but people are renting these docks out, and might have 4 or 5 boats at one camp, and so you've got 4 or 5 times as many boats as you do camps at this point, so. But you could almost jump from one dock to another, coming down around the lake, you wouldn't need a boat to get there. The other thought is, we mentioned it last year, of getting a party boat or a barge and riding around the lake, just so that everybody here on the board could see what is going on here, but we might, once we take a look at Osprey Lake, we might wanna take another look at some of these other lakes, but I think we can, either Matt or I probably could find a barge or a party boat that we could take a ride if we wanted to set a date, or see if we can get a date.
We
or
talked about that
something.
last year, we just
Yeah,
never got it
it
done.
just got getting colder and colder, and we didn't do it, but now's the time to do it, because it's after Memorial and before Labor Day, so
Yeah.
you would see the extent of it.
yeah, there's,
And we may wanna wait till the code enforcement comes back, and he might be able to ride and tell us what
Issues.
issues that he's already
Yeah.
taken care of or in process. I mean, probably take 2 hours. I mean, we used to do it years ago, but take a couple hours to go around the lake, so. And the cost would be probably the fuel, it's gonna go into a man's boat, but if there is interest, either Matt or I probably could see what we can do to,
Just do it.
Be interesting to see.
I think we just need to pick a date,
yeah,
Pick a date, find a boat.
find a vote, yeah.
what works the best.
Hey,
An odd Tuesday or I would recommend the middle of the week, so that we're not out there on the weekend or, you know, I mean, we're gonna post it because
yeah, we'll be
it'll be
together.
more of a group, but also not doing
12
a
to 4 on the next
sidewalk,
80-degree day.
Yeah.
yeah. But,
Short notice is fine with me, cause after the next week, I'm off for the summer, so.
So we'll work on it, we'll get your date.
Yeah.
Okay? Anything else?
Executive session for June 17th meeting.
June
For
seventeenth
legal.
meeting with legal, and he will be on Zoom.
On the screen,
right?
yep.
okay.
Right.
What time are you thinking?
I asked him how much time he needed, so I've asked him, so it may be 5 or 5:30.
Okay.
5 or 5:30?
I've asked him how much time he needs, so either 5 or 5:30.
But we're waiting for a response from Ben.
On the time.
And we
Okay?
are now with Woodson
Well,
and
we-
Drummond and Woodson.
We're with him right now
Yeah.
at Drummond and Woodsum.
Yeah.
I did, I think you may have taken that, oh, it's right here. I did send out, just so you're aware, we do have the engagement and a letter from Drummond and Woodsum, but I also had a proposal we received from, Pretty Even Flaherty. And we had sent another one out, there was one other one we had sent out, or 2 others. And one of the firms is gone, that was Eaton Peabody, they've dissolved.
Yeah.
So we'll wait to see, to get another one back, but basically the rates between the 2 of these are fairly comparable. Drummond and Woodsum's $250 an hour, Pretty Flaherty's $265. We were paying $210 with Jensen and Baird, and Jensen and Baird, as you know, dissolved their municipal division.
Okay? Anything else? I entertain a
Oh,
motion.
there is some paperwork. The planning board is having a public hearing on the F&A, changing the F&As
Right.
to A&R. And there is some paperwork in Angela's office if anybody, either listening or anybody here at the board wants to look at it. There's a package in there. I think that's it, Dennis.
Nothing else? I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? Good night.